Hi everyone. What do you got? That's great. Do like these videos, please, because that helps YouTube know that you've enjoyed watching them and sends it out to more people. If you're watching this recorded, then awesome. But maybe you should be subscribed to Gorilla Physics so that you get notifications and you see these live. In this video, I want to talk about success and failure. Okay, and I want to talk about. Thanks. Sorry, buddy. I want to talk to you about. It's live. So. I'll catch you later. He's got his shirt on ready for our Christmas meal, right? And I want to give you some quotes for success and failure from some pretty famous people, some pretty successful people, and I want to ask your opinion on them. So regardless of whether you're live or you're watching this, can you give us some comments on what your opinion about this quote is and whether you hold that idea yourself, whether you kind of agree with that, whether that idea about success is what you feel about success, or whether you feel something different. And I want to get a little bit of chat going, okay? So I really want to spend more time looking at the chat in this video or in the comments after the video than normal, okay? This is not going to be me downloading a lot of information and telling you what to do there. Hello, Owen, and welcome. Okay, so first of all, what does success mean for you? Okay, now I think it's important that in your GCSEs or A-levels, you think about what success means for you. Now, is it being successful in your mocks? Is it being successful enough in your mock exams such that you know what to revise for the real things so you can get that, whatever that success is in the terminal exams, right? And a lot of people, at the end of those mock exams, what would success feel like? Would it feel like getting a grade 6 because your target's grade 7 and you feel like you can move on a grade over the year? Would it feel like getting a B because your target's an A in A-level? And you feel like during the year you can get there, right? It's very important that success for you is what you measure yourself against during all exams, okay? Because you are not your best friend who's always found it a little bit easier than you. You are not your, your sibling who maybe doesn't enjoy physics as much, enjoys sport more than that, right? So it must be success for you that you measure yourself against. I think that's quite an important thing. So I've got these quotes, right? Let's dive into them now because I think they're quite good, and I want to know what you think about them. Is this something that you agree with or something you disagree with? Right. First one is Winston Churchill. Success is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Now, this is a guy that led us through our darkest hour, okay, and he talked about failures, okay, as being part of success. What do you think about that? Do you feel like that's a bit of a cop-out? You're a successful guy yourself, Winston. What is that about? How can you measure success by failure? Yeah, true, Ben. Yeah, I think we've got to take his advice. Besides, he's a man who had a bottle of champagne for breakfast every morning, so he probably knew a thing or two about success, right? I will come back to this at the end and tell you some things about what I think, right? But let me know. Do you agree with Winston or not so much? Okay, the next one. Okay, it's Edward C. Simmons, an American businessman, right? Different definition of success. The difference between failure and success is doing things nearly right or doing a thing exactly right, okay? When I'm guessing that false is from the last one, from your Winston Churchill one. Interesting that you have that one, right? So just think about what these quotes say about you in terms of your mindset with success and failure as well, right? And that might give you a little clue to what this video is really about. Well, it was in the title as well, wasn't it? So there you go. So the difference between success and failure is doing things almost right or doing things exactly right. So successful people are the people who always get things exactly right. You tell me what you think about this one, guys. I'm not so 100% agreeing with that one myself, but we'll come back to this one, right? This one is a massive one, right? Okay, I've missed more than 9,000 shots. Yeah, almost true, Owen, right? I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take a game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. That's Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan, the most successful basketball player ever. Yeah, the most famous, one of the biggest grossing basketball players with his contracts with Nike and stuff like that, right? Incredible athlete. And he's talking there about his failures because they define his success. They are the reason, he says, why he succeeds. Do you agree with that one? Do you agree with that one or not? I'm starting to see a little bit of a difference between Ben here and Erwin and the way they feel, right? We don't throw balls, we kick them, all right? Okay, so you can I agree. You can maybe think about that in terms of as Wayne Rooney, who has lots of his poor, lots of his unsuccessful things. He's got one World Cup goal in his entire career, but he's England's leading scorer, but he's Man United's leading scorer. So maybe that could easily be a quote from him, couldn't it? Hi Max. Yeah, what do you feel about these quotes so far, right, buddy? Yeah. So that one from Michael Jordan, incredible person, right? Now this one doesn't actually have a person who said it, but I think a lot of people have this kind of idea about success. Some people just seem born to succeed. Some people just seem born to succeed, right? So do you have that idea about success? Is that the way it should be? Is that the way it is? Is it just like, all right, there's people who succeed. Maybe you feel like I'm one of them, so that's all right. Stuff's easy, and maybe other people aren't as successful and they weren't meant to be. Or maybe you feel like, okay, other people are successful and I'm not one of them. Okay, I think that's a really interesting one. And Erwin seems like that's true. I don't know if you're seeing there's two categories here, really, aren't there, that these kind of fall into. And I wonder whether, Erwin, you'd put yourself in one of those categories, and whether Ben, if you're sticking around, or any others would put yourself in any other category. So what do you think about that? Some people just seem born to succeed. True or false? Do you agree with it or not so much? Right, here we go. This one, the reality is sometimes you lose. And you're never too good to lose. You're never too big to lose. And you're never too smart to lose. It happens. That's Beyonce Knowles, right? That's Beyonce. So sometimes you lose. This is Beyonce, who's like the biggest female pop star, pretty much. She's not my favorite female pop star, I like Shakira really, but that's a pretty strong quote from her, saying you just, sometimes you lose, dudes. Get on with it, I guess. It happens. It happens to her as well, right? What do you think of that? Do you agree with that statement? Are you always going to lose? Is everyone going to lose sometimes? Or I don't know, you tell me. Next one, right? Okay, take criticism seriously, but not personally. Okay, if there's truth or merit in the criticism, try to learn from it. Otherwise, let it roll right off you, right? Let it roll right off you. And this is someone who's criticised quite a lot, especially by fat orange guy, right? The US politician Hillary Clinton, this is, right? Okay, and she heard a lot of criticism, right? Aaron and Max both agree with that, right? Is that the personal one, that one? Yeah? Yeah, don't take it personal. Yeah, thanks, Max. Yeah, I agree. This is the best one for me as well so far, I think. Take criticism seriously, but not personally, okay? If there's truth or merit in the criticism, try to learn from it. Otherwise, let it roll right off you. That's about success and failure, isn't it? Learn from those failures, man. Yeah? I like this one as well, right? Women should try to do the impossible, and when they fail, their failure should be a challenge to others. That's Amelia Earhart, right, who obviously went lost doing one of these. She got lost during one of these flights, these amazing flights she did, but she was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. Incredible person, not just an incredible woman. Do you agree with that? Should we look for our failures to be like, all right, I didn't do it, but the next person maybe can do it. Maybe it's a step in the right direction. Maybe that's right, yeah. The first female aviator. Okay, next one, right? So this is, whether you come from a council estate or a country estate, your success will be determined by your own confidence and fortitude. That's awesome. That's big words from Michelle Obama, right? Confidence and fortitude, and that's the success, right? So how do you come out of your experiences? How do you come out of your failures? Do you agree with Michelle? It's not about where you come from. It's about how confident and strong you are by the end. And then this is one, yeah, definitely, Ben, I like it. Smashed it, Michelle Obama, right? That's a really important one for life, yeah, I agree with that. She is an inspiring person, isn't she? Let's hope she's their next president, by the way, because, maybe go away to sort of repairing some of the damage that Trump's done. Anyway, so this one, early success is a terrible teacher. You're essentially being rewarded for a lack of preparation. And so when you find yourself in a situation where you must prepare, you can't do it, and you don't know how. This is a really big one as well. This is Chris Hadfield, right? Chris Hadfield was the commander of the International Space Station. He's got a huge Twitter following now. He's the one who did the Space Oddity. If you search Space Oddity on the ISS, so it's David Bowie's song, he was floating around in his tin can, literally, with his guitar. Chris Hadfield, Commander Chris Hadfield. He This is his quote. It's basically saying, if you succeed too early, you succeed too easily, then you don't learn from it. You don't learn from it. And actually, it's the people who really get success too early that never really get very far in their later life. The thing I'm thinking about this, right, is all these like boy bands, like pop bands that find it really easy. They get taken to the top straight away, and then when they're left to their own devices, they don't really develop as individuals, right? So did you notice there's kind of two categories? Did you notice that? Okay, some are kind of, you know, like the category of like you're born to success or you're not. And some are like failure is part of success, and failure is actually a teacher. Failure is something that you can like learn from and you can grow with, right? And really, I don't know if you get this, okay, you've been talked about this before, probably your schools have done things on this before. There's these two kind of mindsets that is possible that you can have. And Erwin, most of the time, although surprised me later on, Erwin was of one type and Ben was of another. I thought that was really interesting. But Erwin did like Michelle's one as well, so you're not completely in this thing. And Erwin did like the last one, the Chris Hadfield one as well. But generally, earlier on especially, Erwin was saying that he didn't agree with Winston, yeah, that success is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. But he did agree with Edward C. Simmons, which is like the difference, success is the difference between doing anything nearly right and exactly right. Now these are both two good quotes, and I don't dislike either of these quotes, but this was probably of the growth mindset orientation, and this is quite a fixed mindset, right? The success is success and failure is failure, right? So learn from your failures and keep going. Even if you keep failing, that is still success. Or just actually no, get it right or get it wrong, that's failure and that's success. And that is the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Now, yeah, I would say your main thing, especially where you are in life right now, if you're watching this video, if you're a student at school, then you must develop your growth mindset. Because if you get disappointment back from your mock exams, right, then you're either going to think to yourself, that's me, that's what I'm going to get those bad grades, or you're going to think, no, this is my first step, okay? This is my, as I think Biz Contest put it there, smashed it, buddy, fail forwards. I like that a lot, right? So you're going to have a setback, okay, during this year. It might be this mock exams, it might be later, it might be in the way into the real things. It might have already happened to you. But if you don't learn from that and push yourself forward, then you're just going to allow yourself to be that failure at the end, right? Yeah, I think that's really interesting as well. I hope you didn't take that personally, buddy. There's nothing wrong with being that way, right? But, you know, do feel like, okay, that actually everything can change. Okay, people often ask me, this is a joke I say to most people in my lessons, you know, I say, people often ask me, how did I get so smart, right? And my answer is, they often say, oh, you were just born like that, weren't you? So you were born smart. No, I say, my answer is, I listened at school. How did you get so smart, sir? Well, listened at school, didn't I, right? And I think that is the most important thing. I think that's completely true as well. I was not the type of person that did everything I was asked. I hated doing homework, I'll be absolutely honest with you, right? But what I did every single lesson is I shut up when the teacher was talking and I listened to the teacher and I just absorbed that knowledge like a sponge, really. And it wasn't any gift that I could do that. It was just I got on with it, right? And it's not necessarily that everyone can do that in the same way, but it's not necessarily going to work for that. But you know what? Like that is my growth mindset. Is that actually I can learn anything. My wife says to me, she says, I can't draw. I say, you haven't practiced drawing, right? And everything is about practicing to get there, okay? I'm sure your schools are talking to you about this. Take it on board. Take that, if you feel like you agreed with all of one type of those quotes and not the other, is that because you are a fixed mindset? And if you are of that fixed mindset, you must change that during these years, at the very least, because your fixed mindset will not allow you to go from disappointment to success. Okay, and that's my real message today. I really want to read what Max has said, but I was just talking so much about some nonsense. But it's certain that people are more likely to succeed, but definitely the mindset that eventually brings success. Yeah, man, I like that. It's definitely the mindset that always eventually brings success. Successful people, if you look over them, they're almost all of them of that completely open and changeable mindset. That intelligence isn't given to us, it's not fixed, it's something we develop. So what about Rachel? What's the chat there? Hi, I wondered if at some point you could define potential difference. Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking for a good definition for age and can't find one. Sorry, it's nothing to do with the video, but it doesn't matter because I'm all about a growth mindset. You need to grow with that right now. So the definition of voltage is energy per unit charge. That is the definition of voltage. Okay, how much energy does the charge have? Okay, a cell can, or a power pack or whatever, gives the charge energy. So before it comes in, it's got less energy than after it goes out of the cell, right? So we say it's been given energy, it goes up the potential gradient. The difference is positive. And when it goes through a bulb or something like that, then it falls down the potential gradient. So it uses up energy of the charge as it goes through the bulb. Now, that's why we must measure it between 2 points, because the difference between 2 points, potential difference. How much energy did it have before and how much energy did it have afterwards? All right, I hope that was useful. I hope that helped. I've almost finished my little chat now, so if there's anything else that you're interested in, then do ask. Yeah, joule per coulomb, always good, Max, to go ahead and define things with the units to really understand that. All right, so do me a favor though, give this video a like, won't you? If you do share videos out, then do that, please, and comment afterwards. You know, what do you think about that? Are you of a fixed mindset, or are you of a growth mindset? Have you learned anything from this? Is this the type of content that you would like as well? Definitely soon you're going to get your mock exams back. This is my stacks of mock exams ready to get marked, okay? And I look forward to giving that feedback. Not because I get to say, God, you guys don't know it. Come on, guys, pull your socks up. But because I've noticed that most of you aren't understanding the potential difference, right? Most of you aren't understanding your motion equations, right? And that gives me the opportunity to grow those minds. And that's what we've been doing. These are all from the Institute of Physics, actually, this set of lessons. We've had a bit of work with the Institute of Physics here at my school. We've done a week for year 7s, trying to kind of bring them up and out of this kind of fixed mindset that there are people who are meant to succeed and people that aren't, or that you were born a certain way, a certain intelligence, and you're kind of set that way and it's fixed. We want them to experience the growth mindset and actually measure success against their own kind of agreed targets, not measure the success against other people. Let's have a quick look because there seems to be quite a bit of chat, and then I'm going to go ahead and go. My boss was just coming in in his Christmas jumper because we're going out for a Christmas meal as a science department next. Let's have a little look over this. Never seen the growth mindset, Owen. Okay, the starting has been set initially and the growth occurs over the years. Yeah, it essentially is nature versus nurture debate. You've probably heard of that before. Okay, are you born the way you are, or do you become that? And I am definitely on the nurture side of that nature versus nurture debate. I am sure about it myself, but I agree that there's a certain amount of nurture that gets you to when you were born, and that's also crucial as well. I've got a question. How can I work higher up the taxonomy other than writing up practicals? I like that. I hope you've been hearing my videos then. If it's GCSE, you know, there's some nice books that are made for aiming for grade 8 and aiming for grade 9. And they kind of just contain the harder questions. But higher up the taxonomy in A-level, it's doing things like comparing, it's doing things like derivations, a very high taxonomy in A-level. It's doing things like evaluating the practicals, you know, the evaluating style. It's doing things like maybe designing your own kind of project work, okay, but just not seeing the project as being like, okay, the creative aspect of my project is not just making it look nice, okay, but it's actually the thinking that goes behind it. I think that might be something in there. Or really looking for the hardest textbook questions. You know, textbook questions are almost always written from easy to medium to hard. So looking at going through a textbook, grabbing any old textbook, even old spec or whatever, and going through and trying to do the last, yeah, I agree, Max. Trying to do the last question of any set of questions that ensures that you have the taxonomy. Basically look out for questions that aren't just describe or explain. The ones that calculate, that's applying knowledge, that's analysis. Especially the ones that suggest or you know, determine or something like that, deduce. That type of question is a higher taxonomy question. So look at the command words in the exam questions that you're practicing. If you feel like you're doing okay with the state and explain type ones, then try and look for the calculate or above command words, okay? I hope that helps, I hope that makes sense. Let's have a couple more things in the chat here. All take someone with general interest in, yeah, you've got to be interested, haven't you? And I think that's come out from a lot of them, isn't it? Like, you know, Michael Jordan, like, you know, the enthusiasm there. Or the quote that Winston Churchill said, failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So you want this, right? You know, and even in your mock exams, if you don't do great, you still want it. So you're still going to put that effort in. You're going to learn from that mistake. You know, I think that enthusiasm is really, really important. You certainly aren't going to be in the early 1900s flying across the Atlantic, freezing cold in an open-top plane unless you're pretty enthusiastic. It takes enthusiasm to like really get to grips with yourself and say whether you agree with somebody's criticism or not. It's great, man. Good chat. Right, okay, really enjoying this. I used to be a fixed mindset until one time when I spent time with a topic for so long until I understood it. I realised that boundaries only exist if you let them, yeah. Well, you know, right now you're studying GCSE A level physics and probably finding some pretty straightforward physics quite difficult. Okay, and I only say it's pretty straightforward physics because there are people who studied that 10 years ago who are now working at the cutting edge. They've got a doctorate in physics and they're working on something really, really, really hard. They're working on the massive experiments at LIGO or at LHC or you know, something like that. And they didn't get there. They were not born with that level of physics, okay? They struggled with the same physics that you're struggling with now when they were your age, right? So do trust us on this, okay? You know, like you're at a point in your education where you're still growing massively and that is not going to stop, okay? You're going to grow throughout life. And actually, at this point, learning to learn and learning to get over that failure and learning, as you said there, Human Snake, that actually the topics that you didn't get, it just takes that bit of application, it takes that bit of enthusiasm, it takes that bit of determination to get past that, and you'll get it eventually. Yeah, any problem solving is a high taxonomy. Making mistakes always takes you higher up the taxonomy. Yeah, I used to say when I was skiing, I say, if you're not falling over, you're probably not trying hard enough, you're probably not learning enough. And then somebody said to me, like, yeah, but if you're falling over too much, you're going to injure yourself. So luckily, when you're learning, you're not going to injure yourself by getting a question wrong or something like that. Really good at the maths question A was always the theory questions that mess me up. Any help? Yeah, you've got to learn, Human Snake, how things are explained. So don't just try and get your head around, don't just try and get your head around the concept. Also, try and learn it in the way that it's explained. Try and memorize the kind of way that the exam scheme sets it out. You know, there's the idea I always come back to, the one of resonance, okay, which is you can do loads of experiments, okay, but it boils down to on a mark scheme, you're going to identify, oh, that's resonance, great, I get resonance, right? And that's that the driving frequency equals the natural frequency of an object. Therefore, there's maximum energy transfer. Therefore, there's a rapid increase in amplitude seen. And it's usually going to be a 3-mark explanation, right? Just try and memorize that. That's the way in which every textbook will explain resonance. You can do loads of experiments and loads of discussion around it. But when it comes to revising for that exam, for those explain questions, just try and get those. Highlighting nothing. Thank you. I'll change that later. Duchess. Try just remember the explanation the way it is. Oh, big lols. Okay, I'll change the title later on. Obviously, I was doing that quickly. I like this one. How to get in the zone of exam hall isn't explained in school often. I reckon reading books and exposing yourself to questions and not looking at answers directly helps. Yeah, I agree. This is why we do mock exams. One of the reasons is about getting into the mindset of the exam hall. Right, Max, thanks a lot, dude. I'm glad that you guys seem to have enjoyed that. Good chat. If you're watching this recorded, then comments below about what you think of those things. I like nothing. I will change the title. Give me a thumbs up as well, because all those things, that helps me just let YouTube know that people have enjoyed this video and to ship it out to more people. All right, thanks, buddies. See you later.